drifted alarmingly in the betting, was, Felsted in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello, yes, it's Sunday sermon time, folks. Myself, John and Chris, all together on the Sabbath to chew the fat once more of the week's happenings in racing, as well as reviewing the French Guineas and the French Guineas. The French Guineas.
Yeah, that place where all them hypermarkets are and all that. Yeah. Fucking
You're just going to review the French. Start with World War II.
Yeah, bastards. Yeah. Resistance was a myth as well. There you are.
Yeah, and we'll have a check on Lingfield yesterday, the two trial races. Before we do, I'm just going to kick us off on something different. I always start with a review, but I feel like Chris gets left out a bit.
Yeah, I do, because it's well boring. I'll go sleep or have a shit or something.
He starts the show with a shit. So coming on, obviously, last night's proceedings.
Oh, yes.
I'll be honest, I am pockets up. I backed Croatia a while ago. I'm thinking, after seeing the performances, I thought, well,
yeah,
they're an absolute shoo-in. Best song by a mile. Israel's vocals, but they weren't going to win. They wouldn't let them win. Of course, I thought, well, it's got to be payout time. And then this kid in a dress from Switzerland rocks up. And the reason I'm crying foul here is because I don't think I've seen, since they've changed voting system anyway, the juries themselves give so many 12s out to the same country.
Mm.
And if you notice who most of them were, they were all like EU. The ones that didn't were ones that didn't give a fuck about the EU, like Serbia.
Yeah, it's like shooting each other and arguing with Croats over there, don't they? That's their thing.
I'm thinking this is absolutely Duke of Kent.
Yeah.
I normally have a fair bet, because I don't mind rowing in with the engineers, the phone technicians on the machine.
The fucking dial merchants, yeah.
But I'm thinking, no, this is an ucky year. It felt ucky. It felt all wrong.
But isn't it obvious now? I mean, after timing, you look at, you've explained it, haven't you? If you've got a political agenda and your elites want to push a particular agenda, they know that the public vote is going to be completely anti their agenda. So if you look at how the public voted, Israel and all the kind of, in quotes, normal acts. So what they did was just load up the 12s for their candidate and then keep their fingers crossed that that's going to be enough proportionately to bash the public vote. And that's exactly what happened. So, looking at it now, you think, well, yeah, that was obvious, wasn't it? That's the frustrating thing. But I agree with you. I think it was completely contrived. The song was weak anyway, irrespective of what you think of the individual. The song wasn't in the same league as the Croatian act. And yet, funnily enough, we get someone with the they-them pronouns, a man wearing a mini skirt, and he's the winner. And he's the future. And that's, I think, there politically is to encourage people to say, look, if you behave like this, the world is your oyster.
Well, that's it. John put in his questions on Twitter this morning, and he said, is this a Freemason leg up for the non-binary? I don't know, like projecting this, like all the trans flags have been around in our faces for yonks.
Yeah.
There seems to be more... I'm going to say freaks turning up at...
It's Weimar Mark 2, isn't it? You can edit that out. But I mean, that's what it is, isn't it? This is the fucking end of days, isn't it? I think the Book of Revelation is a piece of factual writing rather than a religious text. Yeah. I mean, it's just, what next? Boiling seas now?
I want to know what Irish think to theirs. Again, very satanic.
It's bullshit. It's cosplay. She's no more a fucking Satanist or non-binary than I am. And I'm not a Satanist for the avoidance of doubt. It's pretend Satanism. Yeah, you got your pentagram, few candles. That's not fucking real Satanism. If you want to do real Satanism, order of 9 angles and you shit your fucking pants. If that's the game you want to get in. But it's all cosplays. It's all LARPing. It's all pretend. Look at me. I'm not just gay, but I'm also non-binary and I'm a satanic witch. Look how different I am. It's a race to the bottom. What next? Yeah. We'll say, well, I'm also a murderer. The logical extension is you become more and more depraved to mark yourself out as somebody different or remarkable. Where in reality, she's just a fucking ballerina with a moderate music career with a pair of stick-on fangs. That's it. That's all she is.
John, what were you thinking, mate, to Bambi Thug?
I tell you what, I'm rather intrigued that Chris points out he's not a Satanist and then points out straight away without retort. Exactly what you need to do to be a proper saint.
The most dangerous satanic group in the world. Yeah, the Order of Nine Angles, baby. Yeah.
Just telling everybody to order this. Is it a book?
Yeah, available on Amazon whenever you want.
They'll get some fucking hits tonight on their website. They'll keep sending me a check. Get on there,
All them,
Order of Nine
all them
Angles.
listeners that switched off when you said you weren't a Satanist, Chris.
Yeah, it all crashes down, doesn't it? Yeah, oh, bollocks, really? Yeah.
So, John, I don't know if you watched any of it, because I'm not sure if you're a fan.
I was skipping in and out of it because I genuinely can't stand it for like more than a quarter of an hour. I have to do something or switch over or something, you know.
Were you watching snooker? Tony Drago falling off his chair drunk?
No, I didn't say that. Missed all the good stuff yesterday.
Well, Bill Werbeny could come back.
No. Yeah, I mean, this used to be a song contest many, many years ago, didn't it? Really? Because without sort of being a yabo little Englander, we have the best music in the world, no question. We set the trends, others follow, you know. Your so-called supergroups in America, your REO, Speedwagons and whatever, I mean, they all trace their influences, musical influences, back to like the Midlands, Birmingham, Black Sabbath and people like that.
Chaz and Dave, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Charles and David, we call them down here.
Exactly. So, I mean, for us to keep getting null poir, where whatever year, I mean, it doesn't matter who we send now, we just despise in Europe, aren't we?
Yeah.
That tells you that it's not a song contest. So basically, as you pointed out, Lee, that whoever looks the freakiest and might have the most interesting backstory just has a hell of an advantage, don't they? They can have a contest, really, and skip the singing.
It seems I can't remember her name, that Austrian bird with beard.
Eva Braun.
Yeah. That's Blondie, the dog.
When she won it.
Well, he won it, yeah.
Wasn't she Israeli? Wasn't Dana International or something?
Yeah, I think something like that. Wasn't that rings a bell? That does ring a bell. Yeah, Dana. I think it was.
It was Israeli.
Yeah.
Conchita Wurtz. That's who Wurtz. So it's probably Wurtz.
Mexican.
No.
German for sausage, that is Wurtz, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's it. Sausage.
German sausage. Yes.
Yeah, hide the sausage.
Yeah.
Yes, quite.
So obviously I was miserable last night. I've been robbed on Eurovision with another great bet, but robbed by the dirty globalist.
Foreign bastards.
Yeah, they want little lads in dresses to win.
Plus, I must have heard it when Terry Wogan did it as well. I know he can't do it now, but...
No, he was not as good. Although he wouldn't be charging his 20 grand fee that he used to, don't we? I think
well,
so, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's only licence money and I don't pay, so...
Yeah, quite right.
Graham Norton's well on the BBC employee gravy train there. Yeah. Like our racing media, really. Right. Yeah. All towing the line.
Yeah, all cunts.
Yeah. We've had to on recently. Right. Just kidding, Rishi.
Yeah, just kidding. Anyone who hasn't been on is a cunt. Yeah. If you haven't been on, you're a cunt. Come on, you're all right.
Yeah, that's right. Bit of racing review time. John this weekend saw the Derby and Oaks trials at Levy. Quite interesting performance, especially if you were following me on Saturday with Roger Vegetables runner Defiance, which ran no sort of race. Dave Egan.
I defy anyone to decipher what the fuck was going on there. I mean,
oh yeah, with the market,
like the Contiki all day.
Oh yeah,
and literally did not go a step. I mean, he couldn't obtain a position from the stalls. The horse scouted round Epsom. He looked like an old man on casters yesterday.
Yeah.
Baffling.
Was a baffling run. Illinois, somebody complained to me. Well, not complained, said, put you away with the mark on Illinois. I thought it looked an absolute boat.
Just because it managed to run second there. I mean, they were strung out like rugby wing forwards at one point, the rest of them, weren't they?
Yeah.
He sort of kept going a bit better than, well, what looked like a row of vegetables to give another nod to the master of BHA, didn't it?
Taking anything out of it, I thought the complaint for the info, I thought it was pretty unfair. 6-4 Fav beat well beat, stuffed. You never thought it was going to win at any point. Like I say, ambient, friendly.
I could wear the complaints if it had pun stuck, but fucking hell, what they're doing, place lane.
I think that's what it is. I think somebody's obviously place laid it. Get a complaint for that. But I don't think we've seen the Derby winner there, John, given that I'm not sure what that race is worth.
It's hard to say because the rest of them did look a bit iffy.
Fast time, though.
But, yeah, and you can't really knock the winner because that's the first time he's really settled properly. You know, I mean, he wasn't great on debut when he won. He raced in a very immature manner. And then after that, the next two runs were absolute abominations, really, as regards hoping to get him settled. I mean, that's one of the reasons I put a line through him yesterday. I thought, I can't do anything with this thing till he shows he can drop it. Fair play to Bones, he's done a bloody good job to get him that tractable from where he was.
Well, yeah, it's a welcome thing for the yard because the yard really are looking a bit like. Having said that,
given the Peter Harris and Alison Swinburne connection, he should be very disappointed that there's so many of these going to Jane Chapel Iron. Given his back form where he's won eclipses and stuff.
You've upset our Jack there, 100%.
Well, you know.
I know.
Sorry, Bones has back class, doesn't he?
He does. He was with the Baron, of course, for many years.
And like now, as I said, the fact that the Harris team are concentrating on fizzy gear now fizzes them all up.
Well, I mean, seeing some of the prices they're paying at the sales, like 600, 400, the returns are pretty drab.
They can't be happy. Well, of course they can be happy because they're minted, aren't they? But the returns.
Money doesn't buy happiness, John.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. And only skint people say that. Yeah. You speak to rich people, they go, yeah, it's fucking brilliant being rich. Fucking love it. Fucking hell.
I'd risk being miserable, mate.
The Phillies trial, the Oaks trial, was won by. Well, we only need to discuss one horse. Rest don't matter. Going into today, Ryan's not had the best of weekends, and Rubies are red. Ryan, I think's just lost. I don't know. I think he's just misread it completely. He's
lost his mind.
Yeah, he's had one of them weekends. It's like I noticed at Chester, poor Ailey Moore, his skin and blister. She's wanting interview, and he just didn't give it her. They just walked off after riding winner.
Yeah.
Poor Ailey, you know. He's
ignorant bastard, though, isn't he? He's ignorant bastard. I mean, people about, well, he doesn't like it. Fucking hell, come on, that's rude.
I can see why Stout loves him.
Yeah.
Their conversation level must be like...
It's like Prescott and Duffield, isn't it, in a mind?
Yeah. Anyway, Rubies are red, of course, is the filly we're on about. And if you watch the race back, you will see that Rubies are red was absolutely much the best. But of course, we sort of tipped it up on the pod as the best bet in the race, and that's what happens at the moment. I will congratulate John and Quentin for their klaxon on Friday's show, where they tipped up 2 Bossy for us at 7-1. So well played, John and Quentin, as a klaxon. We always like them. Just to keep the show still afloat. We've had a rough time.
Have a reset. I'll do a Tony Calvin. Have a reset.
Go back to naught. It's brilliant going back to naught. It feels.
We're starting again.
Feels refreshing. But they tell kids that play football. And
the trouble is, that's what we did, though. We went back to fucking naught, didn't we? From sticks.
Yeah, we should have done. We should have kept sticks profit.
Kept sticks profit. Said naught. Levelled out.
Yeah, I'll give the half-time team talk then for us. I'll say, right, come on, lads. We're 8-0 down, but it's 0-0. Said no one. So Rubies are red. John, is she serious enough to be an Oaks candidate? Are you interested at the 9-1, or are you a Ylang man?
She's got to be a player because a shit horse can't do what she did.
I don't mind her at 9s.
I don't. How many 3-year-old fillies can you think of that you would back to know what she did yesterday?
I know. The ground she bed up was just astronomical. To say that was difficult to do at Lingfield as well.
I mean, Ylang wasn't exactly finishing the best of those in the Guineas, was she?
No, and she was a big drifter before the Guineas. So it's as if to say maybe they're not that fussed by her in terms of... I don't know. She should improve for the trip, but I won't say she's certain to get 12. I don't, not certain. The one thing, Ruby's a Red will get it, obviously, on that. So yeah, nothing not to like for Ruby's Red. I think I'd rather back that 9-1 each way a pleasure at the moment, or if you get some decent terms somewhere, that's where because I think the Oaks will cut up. I think there'll be. I don't think it'll be a big field. Could be wrong. I get that things wrong, but I think it's one of them years it probably cuts up a bit.
Aidan could have 5 of the 7, couldn't he?
He might do this time because he might be thinking, I haven't got truly one outstanding candidate. And I think that could be his strategy, much to your annoyance. So we move on to today, where we had the Francais Ooh La La action at Longchamps. The Prix-SI Pouliches.
Well,
The Prix-SI Pouliches?
all right, yeah, all right.
The French Guinea female fillies. Fillies, John, fillies.
Yeah.
Yeah, them things.
The French 1,000 guineas would have done nicely.
I've been shit on this French stuff.
It's Abanant all over again.
Abanant.
We visited.
1,000 guineas from France was won by an absolute, couple of rags, 33s and 66s. My take from this, John, was a filly that goes by the name of Sparkling Plenty. So I think she finished 6th place, something like that.
She got a shit run, I know that.
She made up an absolute world of ground. And what was interesting, physically, I really liked her. I thought she really took the eye. It's one of them. She's not really had that nice ground very often. She had it on debut, pissed up. She ran
because she's a Kingman.
Yeah, and exactly, that's the point I was making. A Kingman, the mother was unraced, and she was related to the brilliant Stasolita. She was the half sister to that. So this filly could really take off. I'm really going to keep my eye on her. I hope, in a way, they bring her to England for some.
She's the sort of filly that could go off like 28-1 in a coronation and leave everybody scratching their nuts.
Yeah, it's one of them under the radar thing. People think, not very good, but oh god, the ground she made up was.
You're not going to go off 28s in a coronation because you're not in it, like. But
we can hope that one day they'll bring her over, but
yeah, she might pop.
Yeah, even if they don't, that's a good thing. We put up on Edge today. We didn't do very well. We put up an horse called Content. Again, Ryan Moore struggled to settle this. Not his fault. She was just way too keen, John.
I was really disappointed with the one I saw.
Not done very well. You don't think?
I thought she'd run up very late. Really tucked up, I felt. I was surprised she ran as well as she did, in all honesty. Because given how she pulled early on, I would have thought she might have dropped out the back of the telly, but she kept going, which I thought was a plus for her attitude. But I wasn't thrilled at the clip of her, to be honest.
No, the on-track pundit as well said that she was quite light framed and didn't impress in the paddock, which I thought was interesting for future reference. So Romantic Style, I thought ran well from the draw. Thought that had a tough enough trip. But not as tough a trip as, for me, Sparkling Plenty. And again, we talk about prices and what you just said. The dream would be Sparkling Plenty turning up against Romantic Style, because the betting public would probably make, say, the draw beat it and side with the obvious Godolphin filly.
But it was a messy race, wasn't it? I know our racing's getting bad for people parking the bus on the front end, but fucking hell, that was sick, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the French 2,000 guineas.
Yay!
Right, I know, what am I doing? The Metropolitan won the race. Again, not a particularly fancied runner. Dancing Gemini, Jacko mentioned this on the betting bulletin. Again, available via Patreon. Jack mentioned Dancing Gemini, a big price, so a good shout from him. That ran perfectly well. The disappointment of the race, despite getting sort of hampered, John, and I think most people want us to talk about this because everyone's screaming at Ryan Moore for the ride, is Henry Longfellow. Now, my take was, and this is just my take, I could be wrong, I thought the horse was lacking a bit of pace, I'll be honest. I thought he was slightly on the niggle, turning for home.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you don't get the right gap or the right timing, I think it was the case that I don't think he had the pace to take advantage.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he's out of a good middle distance, really, isn't he?
Well, minding 1/10. I've actually put down in my own notes here that I think that he is a possible candidate for a French derby. I think that's a half reasonable trial. I'm not saying he'll win it, but I'm saying he'll be better at 10.5 furlongs than he will be at a mile.
I mean, I always felt Minding got away with a shit guineas. I didn't ever feel that was a trip.
No.
You know, but he had like the first English horse was one of the Kilts in that guineas. And Ed had the first 3, you know. The Kilt had the 4th horse. So I always felt she got away with that and didn't really hit the big figures until she went 10 furlongs. I think this one could improve a lot for a bit further, you know.
Aidan O'Brien must be feeling the pressure here with the lads, because here we are, we've gone through 2 sets of classics, nothing in the onion bag. They're not looking like, well, obviously we sit here, Troy, they're not looking like, or they're certain to land any of the classics at Epsom, like they normally are. What's your take? I sort of think this Shamey Effingham thing is bigger than what it looks like, because Shamey Effingham must have been key in a lot of their work riding. You know yourself in your days with the Barry that top class riders, all right, Shamey Effingham might not be a top class jockey in the name of Ryan Moore, but he's a superb number 2, if you like. He's the standing of standings. The fact is that he's riding the best prospects. He's not there now.
The thing is, it wouldn't just be one fella at that place.
No, I don't know. Absolutely.
You know, I think they've probably lost a key cog in the machine, but I don't think you could lay the blame on losing one work rider.
No.
At this, because I mean they've got work riders there that have won derbies, for fuck's sake.
Oh yeah, Paddy Beggy, there'll be Wayne Lorden, there'll be lots of good
Julian Whatnot, and you'd back them all to perform at home, wouldn't you?
I'm probably over egging it there, but it's a bit like when you know yourself, if you've got an employee in a yard, that's your sort of go-to fella, if you like.
It's so easy to get complacent about how good somebody is because he's so good. If things go slightly off kilter, that's all I think's happened, to be honest. Everybody's like, oh, fucking hell, this is it, you know, it's in, like end of days at Ballydoyle and whatever, you know, but like, you know yourself, like, when you've had horses, the daftest of little things can make things go completely fucking harleys. And I honestly think that they've just had one of them little spells where basically fuck all's gone right. He's too good for this to continue like this, and his horses are too good. They've all got form from last year that ties in with horses that's been winning the bloody classics anyway this year.
Yeah.
So too early to make a judgment like that, I would say.
Oh, listen, I don't want it took out of context. It's something that it always plays on my mind, because I always think sometimes if a trainer loses their assistant, we don't know what level of work or the quality of work that assistant was putting in terms of that, and that can obviously.
I would suggest that if he gets to say the end of Royal Ascot and we're having a similar conversation, then we'd probably be right in saying, well, there's something gone missing here. Really, we're sort of casting doubt over the events of 9 days.
Agreed. From the Guineas to Chester through to, I mean, look, Chester wasn't too bad for them.
No. But never is it? Because Ryan's head and shoulders above most people riding around there.
He's certainly good round there. If you back the filly in the Oaks trial, though, I do feel for you that was a bit criminal from Ryan there. I don't know what he was thinking. To have it that far off.
It was the sort of thing Leicester would do in a trial, isn't it? To see whether he wanted to ride that one or not.
This is it, yeah. Shall we work out which one I'm going to ride?
No, I mean, Leicester wouldn't give a fuck when it was a trial race like that. He'd think, well, if I give this fucking 50 yards to make up in the last 12 furlongs, let's see what she can do.
Yeah. Lord Malvo, yes or no, Leicester?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes or no.
Yeah. We've covered off plenty of horse racing there. I think we can go to some different topics now, of course. This week, this took me about, John. Kilt Jr. in the racing rag, talking about watering and the unnecessary watering, saying that a lot of it is unnecessary. This feels like affordability checks, to be honest. It's about 15 years too late.
Well, to be fair, his old fella was really anti-watering as well. I was pleased to see his French counterpart, Jacques Channon, also backing him up with his statement about the watering as well. It was good to see. Unless more trainers speak up, the madness will continue because this is one thing that the BHA have absolutely no intention of getting their arms around at all, because it's not in their interest to, because it makes it easier for us.
I know what you're saying. I've tried to get me head around all the shit of the last 3 or 4 years. It's incredibly difficult for me to do so because the level of incompetence is so great from all parties that run the sport and obviously regulate on the sport. That I know what you're saying, and it does feel like that. It feels like no matter what, everything is stacked now against the punter.
But irrespective of what you think of affordability checks and being inert over that, this is inertia by design because they know that unwatered tracks make it hard for bookmakers.
Yeah.
They aren't that stupid.
We definitely know, and we've seen evidence is key from results, that when you see a bias on a track, they try and water it out.
Yeah.
That's 100%, because there were a time at Beverley, not necessarily recently, but certainly in the last 5 years or so, where the rail was just hot. The inside line was just ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
And it ended up where, come the end of the summer, everything's coming stand side.
Tracks have a remit from the BHA that the waters are good to firm. The BHA has not pulled a single clerk over watering to good or worse.
No.
Ever. Nobody's had any sort of censure. And you tie that into the gross profits deal, there's no debate. That's exactly what is happening. People are being shafted.
A friend of the show, Stuart Williams, has been on and said, fast ground at Longchamp today. How do you think the day went? Obviously before the thunderstorm, but again, this...
Yeah, it's like lining up the body bags, isn't it?
So you got 26 degrees, right? You know it's 26 degrees.
Yeah.
They water 3 days before and stick plenty on and then leave it alone. And then, lo and behold, the 26 degrees comes for 3 days in a row. And whilst it was heavy when they watered, it's then good to soft in places or good or even quick side of good. I think if you water the night before, that's when you get the top coming off, like you see it at HQ. Chester this week, it was, God, talk about okey cokey with rail. It was just unbelievable. They started off on a different line to what they normally do. Normally they go the other way, inside, and then the cutaway happens on the last day. They switched it this year, again, just to probably confuse every cunt. They watered the day before when it was probably at its most softest, because they had the rain at the weekend. And so they didn't need to stick it on before day one. And then they left it alone, and it was absolutely rattling quick on the last day. Just bizarre policy, if you know what I mean.
Terrifying.
But this is it. This is where, again, it's like what we said about employing people to do the job with common sense. Do you feel for the clerks? Because I don't want to clerk bash already this season. Because Cooper Clark, to be honest, he's gone up in my estimations a little bit. Because I know it's not an easy job to do Epsom, because obviously they're absolutely petrified at the Derby meeting, so at breaking its leg downhill. I get it. It's become like a Grand National thing. They can't have the centrepiece. Like we've said, John, on Oaks Day, it's always softer than the Saturday. Yeah. So I do feel for Cooper Clark, but our Clark's pressured too much by certain trainers, because Stuart Williams, he doesn't want this watered shit. Jack Shannon.
It's a self-perpetuating myth, though, again, isn't it? You go back to the hood situation with trainers. Nobody was using hoods. Now everybody's using hoods. Now what is perceived as safe ground by the nature of the conversation is ground with ease in it. And they buy into that. And it's easy for trainers because they're training a lot more cripples than they ever were. Because they're breeding from horses that were suspect, to say the least. So we're bred a weakness into the stock, for starters. As I say, nothing will change about it because it's not in the BHA's interest to do anything about it.
Interesting you said that about breeding from crippled horses that tend to get cripples. Is it then worth now? Me and you could own an horse.
Yeah.
Gets to 115, we'll make it a sire. Not had its balls off. But we knew we were fragile. We knew that we could only run it every 45 days. Yeah. No quicker than that. Is that fair, then, that we're bringing stuff like that into pedigree line?
No, it's not. But the people that prop up the breeding industry don't really give a monkey's. It's not like years ago when there was owner breeders and they were looking for soundness and durability. It's all about winning the fucking Coventry, the Middle Park, and running well in the Guineas and whipping them off to stud, isn't it? And after that, you only have to look at a lot of older horses that have done well. They nearly all end up as fucking jump sayers, don't they?
It's a good point, though, about that. I think punters should do a lot more analysis into bloodstock and pedigrees. You always know about certain horses. I mean, speaking to contacts in the game, they always say no nevers can be very difficult, can be very fiery. A lot don't go on. They'll show brilliance earlier in the careers, but not necessarily go on.
Yes.
I would suggest reading into it, and you can learn a lot from looking at things like that in terms of, right, what does this sire generally produce? Does he produce cunts? Does he produce cripples? How many wind-ups have happened? What's the biggest wind-up horse?
I'm a great believer as well, and so much comes from the dam side.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the dam's influence is underestimated. The dam sire particularly is underestimated. You can get so much information on ground constitution from that dam sire. Like I say, the known bleeders were sort of like Zamindars, Aphonic, that line. Your Green Deserts, for example, couldn't handle any cut in the ground, really. So anything by Green Desert, generally you just avoided.
I mean, that took a lesson from Magna years and years and years ago. He loves a hard-running mare that shows a toughness,
Yeah, that does shopping, John, and comes back with a crate of beer.
Yeah, durable. Handles hard ground and, still slaps her feet down and that, and it does make a difference.
Yeah.
You know you're not getting a coward.
No, I know you look through this because obviously there's certain families you like, and that applies to your betting when you're looking at them. Good stuff, mate. I enjoyed that little chat. Talking about Premierisation now. I want Chris back now. I know you've been for a shit, mate, and for a sleep, but
well, no, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what we think we mean by it, because it hasn't been anything worth promoting recently, has there, on Premierisation?
But it gets better.
Okay.
High Holborn has been busy this week.
Yep.
Greg Swift on his whiteboard with his pens.
Yeah.
They're getting some new pens to write some ideas down.
Good.
They've come up with this one. It's now Super Premierisation, where they're now going to channel off the best racing in the country. Mm-hmm. So this will be like Royal Ascot, York, Ebor,
Fontwell,
all that, right? It gets better, right? So they think that they will be able to sell this to the highest bidders, i.e., you know what they're aiming at, the Saudis. And Rap Podcast has been on here. He says, when do you think the Epsom Derby will be running Riyadh to maximise revenue? This is the thing, right? So the Saudis, yes, they've got absolutely tons, shedfuls of cash, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is everything are toys to them, and they'll buy a football club because it's status, right?
Yes.
I know they've done Live Golf, but that's also status because they own players like John Ram. Again, it's their big toys. If they bought racing, why would they want it run in Britain? Tyson Fury can't fight at Wembley when
no,
got to go there.
So, yeah, that's the price. That's the price of the ticket, isn't it? You know, you want the big money, you got to go and perform over there.
I would say Royal Ascot at Riyadh.
Oh, fucking yeah! I mean. No, I think that's a bridge too far, isn't it? I don't think I'd be interested in that. Surely, why would they?
It shows you how fuck racing is when you're coming up with shit like this.
Yeah.
Well, the BHA basically just can't wait to wash their hands of the whole sorry mess now, can they?
No.
That's the top and bottom of it. They want rid of everything, and before the real storm hit. This is bollocks on a massive scale anyway, because they're like the kings of blue sky thinking, aren't they? They just assume that these top tracks like Ascot and York are just going to say, oh yeah, our best races do what you fucking want.
Can you imagine
but doesn't that belie the lack of knowledge and expertise at HQ? We talked about
it belies the lack of actual common sense.
Yeah. They're just not very good at what they do, and they don't understand the product. These are, there are very few people who have racing in their DNA. These are professional marketeers, professional administrators. When racing goes or changes into a different form, they'll go to another organisation. That's it. They've got no kind of vested interest in seeing other than improving their own salary.
No skin in the game.
If they were bothered, right, they'd be asking the Saudis, right, to sponsor the Derby. They'd be asking the Saudis to sponsor races and come across, wine them, dine them, do whatever they have to do. Say, look, you could be part of this brilliant sport, be more involved.
Yeah, all that heritage.
If they wanted to raise money quick, why don't they just sell it?
Yeah.
Sell it to Dubai.
Yeah.
And, it's the Dubai Derby, it's the Dubai Oaks, it's blah, 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 Dubai this, Dubai that, the Dubai Ebor Festival, blah, blah, blah.
Sell the lot, yeah.
Massive marketing tool for Sheikh Mohammed, but it's going to cost you $4 billion.
They might be looking at that. They're obviously all skint. I mean, Jockey Club must be skint in cash. Looking at the BHA accounts, they're skint in cash. Racing's skint in cash in terms of levy. We all know why. Me and John have discussed many times on the show. I can see what they're doing, but it just comes out all wrong. It's like, we need to be attracting like sovereign wealth investment. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's done for though, isn't it? You can see the actions they're taking now. These are Hail Marys, aren't they?
Well, they are. If they're not interested in their own like surveys on punters and what punters are saying about the game and how punters are being mistreated and can't get a bet on, and they don't care one jot because, like as John said, it's funded on losers. You've got to lose. Welcome to racing, but you must lose. Yeah. If you're a winner, you aren't welcome, and you'll never be welcome.
No.
So yeah, okay, we'll finish topics off then by talking about the blogger. He was out and about in Europe this week. He went to Real Madrid. The game placed a £5,000 cash bet in a Spanish book. No, Jennings bet in Madrid.
No, Jennings.
Jennings, yeah.
Yeah, Javier Jennings. That's well-known Spanish slayer.
Yeah.
Javier, yeah.
Javier, one of these, you cunt. Yeah.
Blogger stakes.
You don't get a coffee, you get tapas.
Yeah,
exactly. I liked a bit of tapas, actually. Yeah,
so
quite like tapas.
Blogger stakes his 5k stake on Madrid.
Yep.
We were sort of bouncing when they were 1-0 down, bit of Schadenfreude on sort of 87 minutes or something, and then they scored 2 late goals. It's just typical, like everything just ruins your day. Well, let's discuss Blogger, because the thing is, he's a bit like Marmite. Some people actually love him, some people don't mind him. Some people cannot have a bar of him. It's one of them. It's quite a divisive topic. Personally, for me, I couldn't care less what he does, what he gets up to, what he's not really interested. Only thing that I get annoyed at are when people defend him saying he's good for the game. That's the one thing I actually disagree with. Because all that is doing is bringing in dumbed down morons into the sport.
Yeah.
When I joined this sport and I thought, I love this game.
I love this game. Yeah.
I'm going to improve my knowledge. I'm going to improve what I know. How do I go about that? So you buy books, you buy literature, you read, you sort of improve yourself. I don't see anything of what Blogger does other than like going and having 5 large on a jolly. How that improves anyone's knowledge. It doesn't give you an insight into punting and how to make it pay or how.
But that's not good for the game. What's good for the game is loads of losers. So he is good for the game, isn't he? I suppose you could argue.
Well, yeah, that's it. Well, you're right, Chris. You're absolutely bang on. The current model.
I agree with you, though. I know what you're saying. I agree with you. But I suppose if you take it to its logical conclusion, he's fucking great for the game because he is attracting, if we're led to, if what we're told is true, lots of indiscriminate, reckless gamblers.
And it was interesting to see certain bookmakers sort of defending him on social media. And again, that's why you would. Because at the end of the day, you want sockless, absolute, complete, coked up divvies coming to your joint with 200 note on Blogger's Fancy at 6 to 5.
Of course you do.
That's what you actually want. So yeah, I get it. I get saying that's good
for the game.
Good for the game. Yeah. It's like, Keith, you're not good for the game. You're a takeout merchant. You're nothing but a takeout. Fucking swag. Yeah, it's a fair point. So that's sort of me out. John, your opinion on it all.
I can't argue with Chris's thoughts. In the current funding model, he's absolutely perfect for the game.
Yeah.
The whole ethos goes against like everything I've been taught from about the age of 5. I mean,
that's the thing, though. He's so dumbed down. It's unbelievable.
I mean,
there's no sense of craft or apprenticeship or self-improvement. It's a sense of apprenticeship or craft that's lacking. It's like, I fancy that team. Don't know why. I just fancy him, so I'll have $5,000 on.
I mean, the first time the old fella took my race, I mean, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, there was the do's and don'ts, never stand directly behind one, and always best close for the races and church, type of thing. And basically, before we went, he said, "Yo, keep your trap shut till you got something constructive to say." I sort of did.
Yeah.
17 years later, I asked for an ice cream.
Like, it's all a journey. And the journey that, like, a lot of us go on that have been in this game a long time. I'm talking about maybe long-term bookmakers on course, clerks. You'll all know what I'm on about, in that we all develop skills out to clerk. The old way with pencil, you worked out races after a while and think, this is good form, this is bad form, this had the rail advantage, this was a bias. Vlogger never adds any insight to what he's doing. It's just literally like, right, folks, here are the bets. I fancy this. This is a nap. I'm walking up to Ben at Star Sports. £5,000 Ben at evens. Raw. That's it. There's no substance at all. And to me, that's,
It's only interesting if you're a complete shit ape, isn't it?
Mouth breathe.
I'm going to come on to this now, right? Davis has been on. He says, what animal would you be if you're in a zoo? So John, what animal would you be?
I would actually be a shit ape, chucking my faces at everyone as I went past.
I can just see that him sat down. Yeah. I love these mental images, right? So John's like the shit ape, and he sat there, and he's got every cunt like pointing at him, all little kids and that going, like trying to like wave at him and all that, and he just and he just
throwing excrement at him. Yeah. I'd be one of those baboons with bright red arse. That's what I'd be. Just showing your fucking arse all the time.
Yeah, well...
That'd be me, I reckon.
I'd want to be Alpha Ape, one that bangs his chest and all that lot. Starts running. I love them. You go to zoos, and I'm not really a fan of zoos, because
I'm not. I find them depressing.
I don't like animals in captivity, I'll be honest. I prefer animals to be out in the wild. But when I have been...
When you have been, you're glad they're in captivity and not with doors open.
Bending your aerial in the safari park and all that. Yeah,
don't do that. I've seen gorillas and that, and they come bouncing up and down, beating the chest and that, and like you
Madness.
Think, fucking hell.
Yeah. I don't like zoos at all. Actually, I find them really kind of depressing places. I know they have an ecological and environmental role to play in preserving, but I just think it's awful.
I think if zoos sort of do it and sort of preserve a species, maybe, but is that right? You're playing God, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like the panda. I think it's even Chris Packham. I'm not a fan of him, but he said, that's a failed evolutionary project. The panda, were it not for man's intervention, the panda would have been extinct yonks ago, because it does not have the ability to survive without man's intervention.
It doesn't have the sex drive required, does it?
John, it's a lazy cunt with no sex drive.
We should be dead by now, shouldn't we? We should all be fucking dead. Lazy cunt for no sex drive. Eating Battenberg.
That's a new subscription service. The Barsteward's Panda Club.
Fucking can't be bothered.
Yeah, can't be asked.
No.
Good question. Jack said, bad beats. Can you remember like any really, really bad beats that have hurt you for years gone by? John, can you remember anything that you think, if that had a won?
Not exactly an if only, but like I had a really bad deal with my local. Well, I wasn't actually at my local, and that was the problem. I wanted to back toward Jeff Uffer's horses that Gary Carter was riding at the time, called Chartino and El Fairs. The names are etched on my memory forevermore. And for some reason or other, I couldn't go. I had this mate at the time, Phil, who lived in Newcastle. I said, look, I need these two horses back in. I said, can you? He said, oh, yeah, no problem. I said, well, I want 400 on each and a £200 double. He said, right, no worries, leave it to me. And of course, this was pre-mobile phone days and whatever, I get home from wherever the hell I'd been, bang teletext on. First one won 11-4, second one 7-2. Fantastic. Gets on the blow to ring him, say what price I got, No answer. And I couldn't get hold of him until the next morning because he'd been in hospital all day with his missus who'd had a heart attack.
How inconvenient.
It was a bit sickening because
Yeah. That's
she
women for you.
didn't even have the decency to croak. She
No.
got better.
Oh.
But of course, any
terrible.
thoughts of having a bet had gone completely out of his head.
Oh.
And
What kind of a mate was that, eh?
I don't know.
That's a
That was me
shitty.
left on the fucking ladder there.
yeah. Chris Poole said something that was quite funny on the
Go
thread.
on.
He said it was during COVID times, and Chris Poole had a real big lumpy bet on John Rahm to win Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
6 shots clear, right?
Lovely.
Yeah. After round 3. He's thinking, right, I'll be able to like bail out on exchange for a lovely green,
Christmas.
big green.
All green here.
All
yeah.
Christmas, yeah. Trumpets out and everything that have been.
Yeah.
Right. He had to withdraw because he got COVID.
Oh, fucking hell.
Right.
Sorry, Chris.
Oh, that's
Fucking
fucking
trumpets
desperate.
there,
Isn't
are
it?
they?
Yeah, poor Chris Poole. Great story, though, Chris.
Trumpets playing the last post.
Yeah. Trumpets were out after round 3. I know they were.
Get it ready.
I tell you what, that's a real. That's a good story. That is a bad beat. I have bad beats every day. I don't think there's.
Yeah, so many I can't remember. Just innumerable.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Obviously John knows the one about the big accumulator that I had that would have been over 300 grand, but yeah, we've been there. But yeah, so good stories there. I do like Chris Poole's there, and John's as well.
Horrible.
John's was horrible as well. Right, well. Couple of sort of racing related questions. So Josh SBC said, an enlightened dictator has helped sports like snooker and darts prosper and grow. Hearn family, the Matchroom team. What 3 changes would you make to save horse racing from decline?
I'd say if I could sell it to you back, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I'd let racing have its own betting exchange.
Yeah.
And I'd have a tax based on turnover rather than bookmakers' profit.
Yeah, I echo that. I would forget funding models. I'd try and, I don't know how it's possible, get rid of these behemoths, big corp, absolute bollocks. Yeah. Just get rid of a lot of them. Own exchange, own tote.
Yeah. No affordability.
Yeah, Chris said on a post.
Carolyn Harris.
Instead of laughing at these people's proposals, instead of absolutely just going, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're kind of, as civilized people, we're kind of encouraged and feel we ought to sort of respect and listen to views that we know are absurd because we're too polite to the likes of people like Harris and all that. Just point and laugh. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You look like an idiot and you are an idiot. But of course, it emboldens the people because they're not being ridiculed or pelted with fruit. So, they carry on, don't they? Yeah. This is where we're at.
The utopia then is a racing exchange, a racing tote, and on-course bookmakers in abundance, giving them generous terms to be able to bet and make a profit whilst giving value to punters that go to the track because they're not fleeced by expenses and shit from racetracks that just want to fleece them and take the piss. So that's my utopia for racing to survive. Josh SBC. Elias Foghorn said, if you were a trainer, are there any owners you would have to think hard about whether you want to train their horses?
No, fucking take anyone's money, mate. I'd take Hitler if he had horses.
Well, to be honest, that I would say most trainers would have that attitude, I reckon, within reason.
The Moors murderers want to own horses. Come on, we've got a nice syndicate for you.
Yeah, because we know how racing works. But having said that, if one was like getting really up your nostrils and you could afford to, it's got to be a situation, you just tell them to go.
Yeah.
John, is there anybody in racing that you tell to fuck off?
There's loads of people in racing that tell to fuck off, but not as regards training horses for them. No. The ones I like least would be the ones I'd be most likely to want to train for because I'd piss them off and shaft them every step of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, run them at wrong races.
Yeah.
Yeah, putting them away.
Yeah,
getting a lot on, lay the shit out of them and everything.
Put the girl claiming 10 on.
No,
she's a good kid, she is. She knows she'll be all right. Yeah, fucking glue her on.
Honest to God, they get it shoved up sideways, no low.
Yeah, then they got it sales and you buy it back for 6.
Yeah, and win 10 on the bounce. Yeah.
No good just telling
no
people
good at all.
You've got to grind them into the ground.
Yeah, 6 grand. 6 sold, 6 grand. Lovely. You've got them out of it. You've got it back for 6 and you improve it £25.
Yeah, exactly. And then sell it to Hong Kong for £1 million.
Does that go off these days? Who knows?
I suspect it does.
Oh, racing. What a game. One final question, which was, of course, the best week this week. I've not asked Samuel the Cats regarding about Eurovision and characters regarding towns and cities, which he said about, is there any sort of mentalist you remember from your town and city walking around? That sort of, we've done it, that sort of resembled Eurovision, Samuel the Cat. There was quite a few of them.
I've got a Tourette's man who walks past the house on a morning shouting, fuck 'em, fuck 'em, fuck 'em.
That's only at your house. He's all right after.
I must admit, Chris, I don't follow him, so he could just start to walk past my place, you know?
Yeah, you fucking cunt.
Yeah.
Former subscriber.
Current subscriber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say last night's Eurovision weren't far off from an episode of Shameless. Ronnie Omelette has been on for the final question, and he said, if you could come back as a ghost, who in racing would you come back to haunt, John Lang?
I'd probably haunt Venetia, and not to the extent where I'm rattling chains and things. I'd just probably follow around upstairs.
Be rattling something.
You know.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, you'd probably like be shouting it and come across like through dimensions as a whisper, like leave the fucking
through the walls.
On. And she hears a whisper saying, leave the fucking boots on.
Ooh. I can't top that. I really can't. I think it would take the burnish off John's anecdote just then for me to comment. I can't top that. Who can top that?
No, it's a good one, to be fair.
Can't think of anything.
That is a really tough question. I've not had a chance to think about it.
No, you think's a real miserable bastard that could do with a visit from the ghost of Christmas past.
I mean, you'd say Mick East to me, but he's going to be fucking dead in a bit, isn't he? I mean...
Oh, no, he'd out fucking haunt you, no question.
He'd be doing his own haunting, won't he, sir? I could give a list of fucking man long.
I know. I know. I actually know who I would haunt. It would be. I'd come back and I'd go down a fucking Paul Durr. For that cunt stopping mine on, I think it was New Year's Eve at Wolverhampton.
Yeah, that bastard.
Yeah, he got me in shit with Bill Turner. Like fucking Bill Turner went down and got a Jim Boyle with a shotgun as Jim Boyle's trying to buy a horse that I'd sold privately, because Bill Turner thought that I was involved in the big drift from 4-1 out of 14s. I'm stood next to him on terrace, and I'd backed it in place because I didn't think it'd be Agus's. Agus had favourite, and I thought it can't be Agus, but I know Bill. You know, there'll be no shenanigans because it's Bill, and so I thought I can have a really good, solid place only bet. I think it's like 1.7. Then when I looked at place only prices, I went off it with 2-1.
Yeah.
And he missed break by 6 and come fourth, and then said blamed on being ill and shouldn't have rode.
God, terrible.
Yeah, I'd come back and absolutely rinse that cunt. It'd be like what do you call that doll, Annabelle.
I'd behind the old glass.
Yeah, I'd be really fucking. I'd send him doolally.
Elizabeth, what's the name? What was it? The Warrens, wasn't it? The two ghost hunters. Yeah.
I'd be really bad. Paul Durr, I'd be coming for you, my man. Right, there we go. Hope you enjoyed it this week, chaps, like we did. This was fun to do, as always, and thank you very much for your questions, because of course they make this show and shape it what it is. That's all from me, John and Chris. Bye for now.